If you go anywhere in Wales, you will find a Welsh cake. First Welsh cake I ever made, I was probably about 4. We used to fry them in bacon fat. I don't make them in bacon fat anymore. I can remember standing on a stool in my parents' kitchen, and they had a little metal griddle as part of the oven. And we would take dripping or bacon fat and put it on the top and cut the circles of dough and put it on top of the griddle. So I'm sure I was younger than 4 when I first ate my first Welsh cake, but the first one I ever made, I was about 4 years old. When I started my business in 2013, one of the things that was important to me was to be able to capture in some way the essence of my mother. And when I was a child, we made Welsh cakes together, and I didn't want to be corny and have a graphic of my mother on my business card. So the last place I had tea with my mother was a place called UNE Pottery. It's actually a pottery that's been on the grounds of this, of UNE, actually since the 1400s. And we had tea there, and in the picture on my business card is a mug from that pottery. So every time I hand out my business card, I feel that I'm handing out a memory from the last time I had tea with my mom. So it's very special. It's not just a business card. I started making Welsh cakes really that summer again when my mother passed away in June of 2013. Then I was laid off from my job and I had 6 weeks severance, and I thought, okay, I'll allow myself 3 days to be miserable, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So I started building a website, making Welsh cakes for friends, family, neighbors, anybody that I could tempt with Welsh cakes. And one of my neighbors said, you should turn this into a business. And I asked her if she was fibbing. Do you really like them? Are you sure? Are you just kidding? Do you feel sorry for me? And she said, no, they're really tasty. Why don't you try it? I remember going to farmers markets, and I would have been up griddling since 2 or 3 in the morning, making dough the night before for that day. And I was fortunate enough to have an article written in the Boston Globe. And people would come up to me before I had opened and say, I relate to your story. My husband just passed away, or my mother passed away. And I just remember thinking that I wanted to reconnect with Wales. And the best way I knew was through food. And doing something with somebody, whether it's riding your bike with your parents or going on vacation with them or making your favorite foods, whenever you're doing them, no matter where you are, it doesn't matter if I'm here or if I'm home in my home kitchen, that memory is so strong. I think that my love of Welsh cakes really just makes me think of my mother. And then when my dad passed away recently, one of the things he said to me was, are you still doing that Welshy thing? And I said, yeah, I am. And he gave me a fist bump